So in this video, we're going to focus more on the coils. Again, the coils are decorative, they are not structural. So after you've finished your wall-based slab and you have the pocket fully attached, you're now moving on to your coil design. So this is when you're going to go back to your drawn plan that's been approved. Make sure that you are following your plan to the best of your ability. The coils that you use, they should be about 1/4 inch thick. And of course you can check using a ruler. And we want to make sure that the slab remains flat. So that's something you do need to watch out for as you're working, because when the slab is out, it's exposed to the air. That means that clay is slowly drying out, of course. So you want to make sure that the slab is not warping. If it's starting to bend up a little bit, gently push it down. You can always add a little bit of water, but we don't want to make it super soft, of course. If you're worried about it drying out too much. But storing it on a bat is a great idea. Now, of course, everyone's going to have different designs, different challenges. I have a couple suggestions on how to start. One way is to start actually with the border, because that helps determine how much space you have. You can also work in sections, and I'll show you how that works. So as you can see here, I made a lot of coils in advance. Okay, so by the way, in this video, you're not going to see me do everything for this pocket. I'm just going to point out a couple things. So for example, I have my twisted coil. This would be going down the bottom and the top of my plan. So of course, to do all this proper attachment, we want to make sure we score, and we also need to score the coil that we are attaching to the surface. And of course, if you're trying to make your coil and the clay is cracking, that could be because the clay is too dry, which means you need to recycle your clay or add a little water to it. But my suggestion for this project is actually to apply the slip to the coil instead of adding it to the wall base itself. Now, obviously this is longer than what we need, which is great because I can just pull it off. Now I have that attached, and I'm going to go ahead and do the upper one. I'm applying the slip to the twisted coil, putting it on top right where it's scored. Okay. Next step, at some point, you do need to take some of your sculpting tools. So I have ball stylus tools, sculpting tools, ribbon tools. What you need to do is you need to use these tools to remove any boogers and score marks. That is very important. We want to remove as many score marks as possible. And to do this, you're going to probably have to look at your wall pocket from different angles. So for example, when I pick up the slab, you can see some of the score marks right in here. So I have a couple options. I can just go ahead and take a tool. You can always add a little water to the clay. That can make it easier to remove the score mark. So I can remove that as I'm working. So that's why you want to put your work on a bat and look at it from many directions. And also, another thing you'll have to consider is, what are you doing with the sides? Are we going to blend the clay together? For example, I can take my fingers, because the clay is fairly soft, and I can blend it into the side of this wall-based slab. That is going to be your choice if you want to blend it. I don't suggest filling it in because we want to see the coil design, of course. I'm looking around for any score marks, picking it up here, blending it, because just because you add the coil doesn't mean you're done. Like, you're going to have to go back and clean up all of the marks. And that is just part of maintaining good craftsmanship with the clay and just being very mindful with what you're doing with your clay. Now, because I have two spirals, I want to be mindful of the direction that they're going in. Do I want them going opposite? Do I want them going towards each other? And I want to make sure they're roughly the same size. Again, I'm trying to make sure that my coils are about 1/4 inch thick. So that's why it's a good idea of working in sections rather than just doing one thing at a time. So again, applying these spirals. Now I can always kind of just check with my drawing. I have my drawing on the side here, and I can see, all right, where do I want these attached? Like, I can lay them out first. but you want to make sure you're also going to score where you attach them. Very important. Do not forget to do that. All right, so I have them attached, and as you can see, we still need to go back in and remove any score marks. I'm going to try this, the ribbon tool, to see if I like to use that. Again, I can also use a ball stylus tool, but we want to try to remove them, because if you forget, it's harder to remove the score marks after you have a lot of coils filling up. Now, when you get to the point of using spheres, make sure your spheres are about 1/4 inch thick. Please do not go too thick. So again, you can check using a ruler. So as you can see with this one here, it is about 1/4 inch thick. So just make sure you're staying with that size. Now, when you are applying slabs to the actual pocket itself, be gentle. So you can see I actually decided to put 2 single layer coils to help kind of build up. Again, it's supposed to be like this outer edge here of the boba cup. And also don't forget, I'm going to pick this up to show you. Also take care of where the coils, if they connect, how they connect to the top edge of the pocket. I'm deciding that I want the coils to blend in to the actual pocket itself at the top. That's your choice. But it does come into a bit of craftsmanship issues. So you want to be intentional with your decision on that. Again, you can use your sculpting tools to help blend that as well. So don't forget, we need to note where the holes will be added. Very, very important. Do not forget this part. So you might have included on your drawing where the holes are going to go. If you forgot to include the holes in your drawing, that is okay. But to apply the holes, and we need to apply holes because this is meant to be hung on the wall, you're going to need to use a hole cutter. Now take a look at your work and decide, okay, I don't suggest putting your holes too close to each other. You want to kind of space them out evenly because you want to think about the physical weight of the wall pocket. This does get heavy once it's fired. So I'm going to just show you how to put the holes in now. And it's okay if you already have coils in the spots where you're going to put the hole, because we can always cut right through the clay. This just goes right through the clay. So that's okay if you have coils in the way. So I'm going to put a hole here and right here. I find that's pretty even. So to use the hole cutter, you're gently going to pick up the wall-based slab, insert the hole cutter. You can just twist a little bit and you just pull it back out, and boom, there is a hole. Make sure to remove any of that extra clay. Yes, even if you're going through a layer of coils as well, it will work, and you just remove this part. Do you need to clean it up at all? You might want to just take your fingers just to kind of remove some of that little clay that's pushed out on the outside, and you just want to leave it be. Okay, so I'm going to reveal my almost finished version of this. So here we are. As you can see, I made a few changes. I was going to have these flower shapes in the background. I decided to just do more of these donut styled coils. Obviously, the boba cup itself is a little bit different than I anticipated, and I definitely added a lot more coils to the pocket here, and I did build up the sides a bit with some coils. And so when you reach that point when you are almost done with applying all of your coils, couple things: make sure you've included those holes at the top. Make sure your holes actually line up and you already saw how to put those holes in. Make sure you actually look at your wall pocket from different angles. Like, look at it from the different sides, not just the edge. Like, this, of course, something to pay attention to is, what are you going to do with the sides? Do you want to keep the coils exposed? There are advantages and disadvantages to having the coils exposed. This is really going to be your personal choice if you decide that you want to blend it. It's very easy. You can use your fingers, you can use these sculpting tools to blend the sides of the coils. That is going to be your choice. But another big thing to work on is removing all of those little tiny crumbs. They sometimes end up in the crevices. I like to use the ribbon tool to remove some of these crumbs. You can also use a ball stylus tool to remove any little crumbs. If you need to smooth out any of the coils themselves, you can add some water to your finger and smooth out some of the coils. Like some of my spheres have little folds on them that need to be smoothed out. This is really a chance to double check everything. Does everything work? Did you include everything according to your plan? Those are things you need to check on when you are finishing up